Good morning. I've been asked a lot lately about my business predictions for the rest of 2021. And I've been doing a lot of interviews and talking with my clients and members of the trust. And really, what's on everyone's mind is, are there things I should be doing right now in my business to protect myself? And when you think about your business, let's compare it to like an investment portfolio, right? You don't want all your eggs in one basket, right? Unless it was GameStop last week. But when you think of your business, for so many of us, especially women, that business is the sole driver of our income. And it is so, so important to have a bigger perspective this year on what could happen and what you should be doing. And so there's a few things I wanted to share that have been coming up in interviews that I think are very important if you're planning ahead for 2021. And that obviously the key word last year was a lot of disruption. And last year, though, it was forced upon us. And the big shift you're going to see in 2021, there's going to be continued that, no doubt. By the way, February could be insane. So just, we don't know what's going to happen. So just like last year, you don't want to run out of toilet paper, keep the pantry stocked. Like that stuff you should be doing all the time, right? Just make sure you're always doing that. I think it's just a good thing in today's world. I talk about that on one of my shows. One of my friends has said, just have more than 2 cans of corn in the pantry. So that's for your home, right? But for your business, how should we be thinking? The disruption that is the huge opportunity is in how fed up people are getting with the systems that exist. So fed up and so pissed. And it's so amazing when you think about it, because we kind of tolerated these systems for a long time. And an example that I use often is education. So for those of you that are moms and dads, and the kids go out the door, you pack the lunch, they go to school from 9 to 3 or 4, and it's been great, right? Because you have the time, you kind of know what they're learning, but you're not sure. This past year, this was a great example of disruption, because suddenly it all was like, tossed around. We, like many other parents, were like, no, we're not playing this. We don't know what's going on here. Let's just pull them out for the year and figure this out ourselves. And we've kind of invented our own model. I found a great local girl to come 4 days a week for 5 or 6 hours, go through the basic academics with them. And then we do fun stuff and field trips and exploring. And, we figured out our own model. So that's one example, but you're going to see this start to happen. And this is where the opportunities are if you think ahead. You're going to see this start to happen in all sectors. You're going to see this start to happen in healthcare. Right? People just pulling back and deciding to take control of their health and work with different types of providers and different types of networks. And I think health insurance eventually is going to blow up, because that's part of that big system. Big anything, you need to be prepared for it to go away. And that includes changes in big tech, right? And some of these platforms and systems we've used to grow our businesses on are probably not going to be the same or around for one reason or the other. So just start thinking ahead. So here's my advice of specific things to start thinking about. First is, if what is working right now is working, work it. Like pedal to the metal, fast forward, move that business as fast as you can. A great example of that is a client who was with me for 2 years, and she's a member of the trust now. Kelly Roach has this live launch system. And, it's taught using Facebook groups, which is still working really, really well. But there could be a point it doesn't. And she's always been very upfront and clear, saying, you don't bank your business on this. It's a strategy, but it's working right now. And so you work it. So what's working, you work it. But on the side, on your desk, right, you should be working on the alternate plan. And I see, it's interesting. I see more men kind of look at this and think ahead this way than women. And it's just maybe how we view things differently. But what's funny is the women, we typically have that holistic perspective. So start adding this into how you think, ladies. It's really important. So think ahead, because things are going to probably get smaller. You may have smaller markets, smaller communities, smaller conversations. And when we say small, it just doesn't sound sexy, does it? Because we wanted it all to be big, and we wanted the huge platform with all the followers. And I used to have big events, right? But then when you get clear on who you're really here to serve, and for some people, that's really becoming evident this year. If you get clear on who you're really here to serve, and if you get clear on what you can best provide to them, then it actually makes your marketing so much easier, because you don't have to worry about the big. You have the conversations you want to have with them. You can say what you've really wanted to say, because they're the ones that want to hear it. Just all these shifts. And I do think these smaller platforms are going to stick around for a while. So you may want to get established on some of those, as far as social media and marketing and those types of things. So think smaller, but better. Think smaller, but better. And had a few notes here. This is a really interesting thing that I heard, actually. This was secondhand. It may be from one of you who posted it, but people are going to be starting to create their own ecosystems. And I don't mean physically. Maybe we need to, I don't know. But in a way physically, because I'm hearing of groups of people, entrepreneurs, leaving areas that have been overregulated and moving to areas that are not, even buying land, buying houses next to each other in new developments in different states, and saying that, we're going to live the way we want to here. And we're going to rely on each other for resources and hire a teacher and, maybe a healthcare provider. I mean, this is so exciting to me, because I think we are going to be entering into this true renaissance, I've heard it called, about where we're, the huge opportunities and potential that's here. And then for those of you who are problem solvers, this is going to be just the place to be. I mean, think about all the systems that we've been tolerating and how you can personally help disrupt that. I mean, new financial models, it's obvious from last week and all this stuff happening where you see the manipulation and the corruption. I mean, it's not even being hidden anymore. They're not even trying. And here's the good thing, though. Even though, we just wake up and I wake up in outrage. So I have to calm down sometimes and revibe right up to that higher level. Some of you have heard me talk about, or you're into the whole 5D is the greater perspective, multiple perspectives on things, seeing things holistically, not getting too attached, right? This is where the opportunity is, because how can we take these systems that have been so oppressive to us, we now realize, we now see, and turn those into opportunities. So that's the bigger picture. But in the meantime, think targeted. Think, who is your market? How can I serve them? And how will I be able to reach them if this bigness goes away? If the big tech, big platforms, big industries, big systems, how can you reach them? And have those conversations with them. I'm really, really glad that when I came up with the idea for my trust network, and this was in 2019, we were putting all the pieces together. I'm really glad that we decided to create our own app, our own conversation ecosystem. We continue to gather in person for those who are comfortable with that. I think it's so important. The human gathering, we're losing the human connection. We're losing that. Our children are losing that. So think about, how can you give those types of experiences, whether it's virtual or live in person with your clients and customers, because they're going to be craving that. They're going to be really, really craving that. And then, on a last note, I think just, again, I'm just gonna echo that. Look at what you're doing. It's a great time to lay it out. Go, what's working, what's not working. If it's working, dial it up. If it's not, this is such a great, great time to start thinking in a different direction. I'm going to be doing more of these lives, but I just wanted to pop in and get you all thinking this way. And I'm about to host a call on the next hour for women who are interested in joining the Trust, which is my network for 7- and 8-figure women entrepreneurs. And it's been a wonderful experience this past year, even though it was I wouldn't say it was an easy year to start a new venture. The conversations that were needed and how big people are thinking and the things that are said among us that we know we may not be able to say elsewhere, and women with incredibly different perspectives, different views, having just really intelligent, mature conversations about what's going on in the world, what's going on with us, what's going on with our businesses, how should we be thinking different, thinking bigger, because these opportunities are coming. So if you're interested in that, if you're at that level to join us, it's jointhetrust.org slash, let me double check, jointhetrust.org slash private invitation. All right. So think big, but think small. Okay. Think targeted, because I think that's going to have to get us through the next year for those of you who are running these types of businesses. Okay. All right. Take care.